And here's the next lesson on writing one number as a percentage of another. Alright, so nice little short lesson. Ew dear. There you go. So just write the problem as a fraction. So it might be a word problem like this. So I would suggest just write the problem as a fraction somehow and multiply it by, because going to convert a fraction into a percent, you multiply it by 100. That's right. So what percent is 5 out of 12? So the sentence 5 out of 12, can you turn that into a fraction somehow? Yeah, you can. 5 out of 12, which means 5 out of 12, 5 over 12. And then to convert it into a percent, you times it by 100. Or some people like to think of it as 100 over 1. If you were to do it non-calc, you would multiply the numerators to give you 500 and the denominators to give you 12. Then you would have to simplify that little thing. So that would give you like 250 over 6 and then 125 over 3, which is getting kind of like complicated. So if you want, that simplifies to 125 over 3. Because I divided top and bottom by, what did I divide by? By 2, which give me 250 over 6. Then they're both even, so 250 over 6 simplifies, divide by 2, gives you 125 over 3. And 125 over 3 is, you could do it by hand, 125 divided by 3. 3 goes into, what's this name? 3 goes into 125, let's see, 40 times. And then one more, so 41 and 2/3%. Or you could say, if it was to be done as a decimal, it would be 41.6 recurring percent. So 41 and 2/3% is just fine. 41.6 recurring percent is just fine too. What percent is 6 out of 7? So can you turn 6 out of 7 into a fraction? Yes, you can. You can go 6 over 7. More like a 6. And then times by 100. We can think of 100 as being the same as 100 over 1. Which would give you, multiply the numerators. 600 over 7 times 1, 7. Then what's 600 divided by 7? Let's think, how many times does 7 go into 60 to begin with? Excuse me. 7 would go into 60 8 times, so roughly 80 times and then a little bit more. So you could kind of try to do what's 600 divided by 7 on the side. That's how you would do it non-calc. I'll show you just in case you're not sure. 600 divided by 7, in case you've forgotten how to do division. It was non-calc. So it does, how many times does 7 go into 6? None. So carry it up. How many times does 7 go into 60? It goes in 8 times, because 8 times 7 is 56. How many remainder from 56? It'd be 4, because 60 and 56 is a difference of 4. 7 into 40, how many times does that go? It goes 5 times, because of 35. So put a decimal point, line up a dot. And so from 35 and 40, there'd be a remainder of 5. 7 into 50 goes 7 times, remainder 1, because 7 times 7 is 49. So from 50, there's a remainder of 1. 7 into 10 goes once, with a remainder of 3, because 7 goes once, so 7, and then a remainder of 3 from 10. 7 into that, 4, and so on. So let's say to one decimal place, that would be 85.7%. If it was all just to be done with calc, it's easy. Just do 6 over 7 as a fraction. 6 divided by 7, and then times that answer by 100. That's an easy thing to do with fractions. You would still get the same answer. Get 85.7%. I just like to show you a bit of non-calc as well. Practices our fraction operations. Next thing, what percent is 19 out of 30? As a fraction, 19 out of 30 times by 100 over 1. 19 times 100, 1900. 30 times 1 is 30. Divide the top and bottom by 10, so I get 190 over 3. Then you could work out, like I did above, what's 190 divided by 3? That's totally fine. You could also, if it was with calc, then just go divide by 3. 63.3 recurring percent. So in your calculator, you could just do 19 over 30 times 100. We'd get 63.3 recurring percent. Let's double check that by doing it by hand if you want. I'll just show you because you might still be curious about how to do it by hand. 190 divided by 3. Does 3 go into 1? No. 3 does go into 19 though, 6 times with 1 remainder, because 6 times 3 is 18. 3 goes into 10 3 times, but with 1 remainder, so we need to put a decimal point and a 0, and then 1 remainder. Line up the dot. 3 goes into 10 3 times, because it makes 9 with 1 remainder, and 3 times makes 9 with 1 remainder. So that's why we're getting 0.3 recurring. Next one, what percent is 6 out of 11? 6 out of 11 times by 100 over 1. Can't really do any cancelling down. 600, can't cancel vertically or diagonally. So 6 times 100 and 11 times 1. Ew, can't do any cancelling down. So we know 11 might go into 600 a fair few times. So you might want to do this one with calculator. Or you could do the division, 600 divided by 11. And you should hopefully get 54.5455 and so on. So let's try it out though. Let's do 600. I like to get you to do a bit of non-calc stuff here and there. Does 11 go into 6? Nah. But it does go into 60. If we carry the 6 up here and make 60, 11 goes into 65 times because it's 55. So a remainder of 5. 55 and 60, remainder of 5. 11 goes into 50 4 times. The remainder of, 11 times 4 is 44, so from 50 a remainder of 6. Carry the dot. Line up the dot, 11 into 60, 5 times. What would be our remainder? 11 is 55, remainder of 5. 11 into 50, 4 times. What would be our remainder? 6. Because 44, so from 50 a remainder of 6. 11 into 50, 5 times. You might see a bit of a remainder, a bit of a pattern. Remainder 5. And then 4 times, and so on. So it's kind of a recurring pattern. So again, it's like a recurring decimal. Oops, I just went to write decimal point by mistake. Shouldn't write that yet. So I need to write 54.54 recurring percent. So that means it's 54.5454. This is going to go on forever. That's pretty much it. Thanks very much for listening. See ya.